my producer has asked me to tell you some stuff about the stove. So here I am. I'm going to tell you quite a lot of stuff about the stove. So while the stove was definitely shaped by COVID, the concept is actually quite a bit older. So before we even knew that COVID was a thing, I was already thinking about creating a space for community and togetherness that was also theatre, because I felt like we've lost quite a lot of the spaces that are for gathering or were for gathering. And I think theatre can do something really special in bringing people together. And then obviously we lost the ability to gather, so the plans kind of had to change. And so the stove initially took place as a Zoom dinner party where people would bring their food to their screen, and that would be our kind of communal table. And we would play games and tell stories and create stories together for about an hour or so. And usually people didn't know each other. So it was just this really beautiful thing to watch people coming out of their shells, and really settle into the kind of escapism and nostalgia of the thing, when we were so isolated. And now the challenge is to keep those things that made it so special online, as we move to an in-person experience and try to create that communal space that I had dreamt of a long time ago. So in terms of what is different, moving from online to in person, the main difference is the dinner, because I actually can provide food this time, whereas people before were bringing their own dish. So this time it is fully catered. We have this gorgeous Ashkenazi feast. I know those words don't often go in the same sentence, but we have wonderful food cooked for us by Emily Grabina Wolfson. So the stove can really come into its own as this really homely, nostalgic space. We are performing in 3 locations, Moishe House Kilburn, the Jewish Museum, and then Moishe House Clapham. And it's a real shock to the system how much more work it takes to make something happen in person, compared to online. So thanks to Abigail, my producer, who keeps me focused when there are far too many jobs to do. When audiences come to see the stove, I really hope they will enjoy connecting with each other. From the shows that we've already had, that really does seem to happen. So last weekend at Moishe House Kilburn, people stayed for a really long time after we had finished the show, just talking to each other. Because it really felt like they had bonded over the course of the show. So that was really, really special for me to see. And yeah, that's what it's for. It's for bringing people out of their everyday worries and saying, we're in this space together. What should we do with that opportunity? And it's so nice to spend an evening talking to totally new people, and never once do you say like, oh, and what do you do? It's this other thing, it's this special thing that we create together, that's unlike other social interactions. Yeah, it's a chance to connect, create, and kind of relax, which might seem counterintuitive for a show that involves audience participation, but I promise you, all the interactive elements are very gentle. I'm performing The Stove as part of Tsitsit Festival, which is the first Jewish Fringe festival. And so because of that, I have created a more Jewish frame narrative. So it's based around ideas of Jewish migration to the UK, with a particular focus on Ashkenazi migration, just because that's my heritage, so I can speak to it. So I suppose the biggest difference is the amount of Jewishness in the show. It was kind of implied before. I mean, stories and food are pretty Jewish, but now it's overt. And yeah, I guess it's quite emotional as well because of that. So I've been working to build a participatory soundscape. You'll see what that means if you buy a ticket to the show. And it's quite silly, but it's also very poignant. And full credit to Frankie Thompson, who helped design the sound for the show. And with Frankie, we had a lot of fun, but we got quite emotional, playing with Yiddish music and working out how it fits within what I've written. Um, because yeah, that it's our families, it's our pasts. It feels very personal. It feels very close to my heart, and I'm sure it's the story of a lot of other people's families too. This is very much the start of things for the stove. It's a trial run, a kind of a research and development phase to see what works in person, if it works in person. And the eventual aim is to build towards mass communal events with lots of tables and lots of performers and lots of stories, being told across a massive room, whether that's in a theatre space or a community space or somewhere else altogether. We are very open to ideas. I'm open to collaboration and adaptation. If you want the stove experience, but you want to explore a particular theme or you want a particular food, or it's for a particular event, I'm very flexible with what the stove can do. It's just, at the heart of it is food and storytelling. So yeah, hire us, collaborate with us, but firstly, make sure you buy your ticket to see us, particularly in Camden this weekend.